7 years in Panama and then life changed overnight. I had to move back to New York City as a single mom of two. Figuring things out in real time, this channel is changing with me. New York City life, rebuilding, and traveling back to Panama where my family still is. No filter, just real life. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of B Girl TV. Welcome back to my canal de YouTube. It's about what time is it? 6 something in the morning, and I am recording this video because my daughter is actually asleep, and everybody knows when she is up it is super hard for me to get content out, so here I am. Okay. Yeah, my face is a little puffy and it's a little bit swollen because literally I just woke up not too long ago. Anyway, I'm doing this video just to basically explain, just in one nutshell, why I left Panama. Now, a lot of you have been seeing just clips on social media and been coming at me for my decision. It's crazy. Like, people on TikTok really take up other people's problems. And I don't even understand why, because what I do is not going to affect anybody else. The only person that's going to affect is me and my children. That's it. So I don't understand why so many of you guys are really just taking on my problems and making it your own. So that's number one. Number two, when I talk about my experience is just that. It's my experience. I am not here to bash anyone. I'm not here to bash any country or to put one country down to make another country seem better. Because to be honest with you, where there's government is always chaos. Period. Okay? So no matter where you go in life, whether you decide to stay in America or whether you decide to go abroad to a whole other country, you're always going to face some sort of dislike. There's always going to be something that you don't like about said country. It does not matter. There's no perfect country. And I mean that with the most love, okay? Because this is the truth. There's no country that is better than the other at all. You just have to pick the best country where you see yourself fit, where it makes sense for you, okay? Again, where it makes sense for you, and just deal with whatever comes your way. I love Panama, okay? Why would I not love Panama? That is my culture. That is my history. That is where I am from. I love Panama, and I love all that Panama had to offer me. However, all good things must come to an end. And this brings me to a video that I will be posting, not today, but in my next video, about why Panama is not beneficial long term, okay? Or why it may not be beneficial for long-term living. But that's here nor there. Back to the subject on why I left. Okay, so as you guys know, the ones that have been following me for a very long time, I've been living in Panama for over a decade. And every year I would come back to the States. Either sometimes I would bring my kids, sometimes I wouldn't. And I would just take care of things that needed to be taken care of. You know, just making sure I set myself up for to win in the future, okay? Because what people don't tell you is that majority of the people that live in Panama are living off of some type of retirement, okay? They're living off of some type of retirement. I was not living off of any retirement. I was working in my family's business and just providing for myself and my child, because I only had one at the time when I first moved. And everything was great. 2015, 2014, Panama was amazing, okay? We had an amazing president that was fueling the economy. There was money flowing in the street. Our business was up. Everything was great. As time progressed and we seen a shift in the government, we've seen a shift in law changes, because when there is a new president, they're going to implement certain laws and changes, and those things might affect you. Now, if you live in off retirement, this is not going to affect you, okay? This will not affect you at all, because guess what? You have a set income that's coming in every single month from the U.S., okay? Because most people are retired from the U.S., okay? And your American money goes a lot further in places like Panama. So this wouldn't affect you, okay? So when it comes to government, when it comes to policies, when it comes to local laws, this would never affect you unless it has to do with like immigration laws. But other than that, it's not going to affect you. However, me, I was living my life as a Panamanian because I have dual citizenship, and we were living our lives. Like, we ran a local business, my kids went to local schools, I was dealing with the local people, i.e. my family, also friends that I met along the way. I was hosting events that were for locals and people who really just wanted to experience Panamanian culture, Afro-Caribbean culture to be specific or whatever, and they were just looking for that vibe. Okay, so I was dealing with local laws, labor laws, yes, that's the word I want to say, labor laws, employees, local business, staying relevant with taxes, because if you guys do not know, when you own a physical location in Panama, you have to pay so many different fees. Sometimes the fees did not make any sense. You would have to pay, if you had a sign outside, you would have to pay that. If you had a sign outside your window, you would have to, there was just so many ridiculous fees. And then when you would have, and this is what we were dealing with first on, like pre-COVID, you would have people from the Ministry of Health, right, and Ministerio de Salud that will come and then check your products. And if they felt like your products was expired because they did not understand that on the back of a product, it has like a little photo of a product that looks open, and it'll say 12 months or 6 months. What that means, guys, and this is for your own personal knowledge, is that when you open the product, your product starts to expire either 6 months, 24 months, 1 year, 2 years, depending on what it said on the back of the product. And they would just take your products. Okay, and when you would explain, no, this is what this means because of the language barrier, because we sold American products, they didn't want to hear that. Okay, basically what it was is that they wanted Koima. That is the reality of the situation. After dealing with this over time, ungrateful employees, it became a lot, and there was so much that, you know, I tell you guys a lot. And I tell you guys the truth, but there were certain things that I was just unable to talk about because low-key I was like kind of like embarrassed a little bit. I know it's crazy, I shouldn't be embarrassed, but it was. I have dealt with so I was dealing with so many other things, right? But it still was not enough at the time to make me want to leave. We have dealt with employees where you treat them the best, okay? And at the end of the day, and I get it because it's survival mode, like at the end of the day, people just want money, okay? They don't, a lot of people don't believe in, oh, well, they were really good to me. I'm just not going to react a certain type of way. They didn't care. Okay, at the end of the day, you were just a dollar sign to them. No matter how well you treated them, you were just a dollar sign. And you know, and sometimes it may not even be them, it may be outside forces influencing them to do certain things that were just not right. So this was like a years and years of buildup. However, I loved my lifestyle. I loved the fact that everything was just, you know, close-knit neighborhood. I love the fact that I knew who my neighbors were, and I would speak to my neighbors every single day. I love the fact that the community and school, like my kids, the school that they went to, how the parents were super involved. I love those things. So it still wasn't enough to push me to the verge, but I'm not even gonna lie to you, there was moments where I was like, oh my God, I cannot take this more, I want to leave. And it kind of was like God was like, he heard what I was saying, right? So fast forward now, we come to the States for the summer. I had a return ticket, so it was, I literally had no plans on staying here. And then I found out that, and this is just to make a long story short, because I literally spoke about this in one of my other videos, but I didn't specifically cater or have a video specifically explaining these things. So I realized that when I got here, that because my son never went to a public school, well, he never went to school in the States per se, he would be considered an international student. So for those of you who have children, teenagers, and that you plan to send them off to college, okay, they will not be entitled to certain benefits regardless if they were born in the USA. Now, my friend did tell me about this. Like, this was years ago, pre-COVID. So this isn't something that Trump implemented. I think at the time when this happened, I think Obama was the president, if I'm not mistaken. But she did mention something of the sort to me, but I never like really paid attention to it. Now, the plan was for always for Amir to go to the university or even a trade school in the States. Like, that was always the plan. Okay, I do not have $50,000 to send Amir to the University of Florida in Panama. I do not. And even people in Panama, they'll send their kids to the States to study. The president of Panama studied in the States. Every president in Panama, majority if I'm not mistaken, they studied and got their degree from a university in America. Okay, I know this is a shocker, and some of you guys don't want to come to the realization that although you guys hate America so much, America too also has their benefits. Okay, just like Panama has its benefits, but Panama also has its negatives. America has its benefits, but America also has its negatives, such as life. I know that this is a bitter pill to swallow, guys, but this is what the reality of the situation is. Anyway, with that being said, me finding out that it would have affected my son's education, you know what I did as a mother? As a mother who loves their children dearly and will make, as a mother who loves her children dearly and will sacrifice and give the last breath in my body for my child, I said, you know what, we're not going back. I'm going to get myself together, and then we're going to pick him, you know, get him back here or whatever. And then he said, no, Mom, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to leave you. That's what my child told me. He said no, because the plan was I was going to send him back for a year. He would come back in 11th grade, which now I realize it wouldn't have made any sense to do that either. Clock it. And then once I had an apartment and had everything settled, I was just going to send for him. And he was like, no, we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle together. Yes, that's what he said. And so, you know, that was it. And not only that, before I left Panama, I was dealing, and I think I spoke about this, with someone who betrayed me in the worst type of way. I'll try to see if I can link the video so you guys can like watch the video, because I don't want to go into it again. But this person was a big thief. The biggest thief of all thieves. Okay? If he was in an Arabic country, he would have got his fingers chopped off for being a thief. And so all those little things was making me, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm just over it, you know. I told you guys about the woman, okay, with the letter M, who stole money from my dad years ago, and nothing was resolved with that situation. It just seemed like, you know, people would commit these crimes or do certain things to us and there would be no repercussions. And it got to a point where I was just like, I'm so over it. But I would never like say it out loud, but I would say it to myself. I would say it in my head. And God probably was like, girl, you know what? I got you. You know what, girl? I got you. He puts us in an uncomfortable situation. And then, you know, for us to move. And I still wasn't moving. All these things that was happening or whatever, I still wasn't moving. Because why? My son was in school. I love the community. There was just so many aspects, the weather about Panama that I loved so much. And I started to build Rum and Brunch. And Rum and Brunch was starting to get a name for themselves. And, you know, I was helping, you know, putting people on and putting on local DJs and just building myself. And I had just created something and I was just like, damn, I'm just gonna give this all up. Like, I literally just started my YouTube channel. And so all these things I was thinking in my head, but I never really like said it out of my mouth. Okay, only like to my close friends, like when I would get frustrated about certain things and I would tell them, they'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever, we don't believe you. Because I would really never leave. Like, I would just tell them and they'd be like, oh, okay. It was only 2 people that knew this, okay? And they're both my good friends from Panama. So you know, once that happens and I realize, okay, I am going to have to stay here, I have to I have to step on the gas. It's go time, right? So I'm literally starting from zero, from the ground up. I left. I don't even have clothes, guys. Okay, I don't have clothes. Like, I'm literally wearing the same clothes every single week because I have to make sure that my kids are taken care of. I literally have to make sure that I buy them their jackets. It's winter in New York. And then somebody asked me, like, why did I choose New York rather than another state? Well, I'm gonna be very honest with you, right? I am a very family oriented person, and my support system is here. I'm not the type of person that's going to pick up and just move to some random state and have no family or whatever. I'm not going to do that, because if something happens to me, I need help with my kids. I need to make sure that my kids are good. So I'm not, call say what you want, I'm just not that type of person. Like, I'm not going to move away from all my family and it's just me and my kids. No. I didn't grow up that way. I am very family oriented. I tried living in Florida because I had family there. Did not like it. Orlando was just not for me. I just didn't like it. So yeah, so I just grew up with family, and I am a strong believer that it takes a village to raise a child. So this is where my village is, and this is where we're gonna thug it out. It is what it is. So yeah, you know, although Panama has some amazing things, and you know, there's so many things and things that I love about Panama, like, and I miss up until this day. I still miss, right? There are things that I could not take anymore, and I was really just suppressing those feelings because I just loved the lifestyle that I was living. However, the truth of the matter is that I was struggling. Okay, I was struggling mentally. I was struggling financially as well. Yes. Okay, because guess what? Again, this won't may not affect 95% of you guys. It may not affect you because you guys have a check coming in from the country that you hate so much. And you don't realize, sometimes we don't realize our blessings, right? So again, I'm not saying that any other country is better than the other. What I'm saying is that there's benefits in both, okay? And some people may not want to bite the hand that feeds you. You know, the power of the la lengua, okay? The power of the lengua is very, very strong. And sometimes you may say things, okay? You may spew things, okay, out your mouth, and God will humble you. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Panama has awarded me an amazing lifestyle. I was able to purchase a beautiful home. I was able to, you know, I was able to put my son in a really amazing school. He was able to have access to certain things that he would not have had access to here. But times have changed, right? So right now I'm working on getting my master's. Congratulations to me. And other opportunities has presented itself. And even with my YouTube channel, like, I was seeing things from I wasn't being really optimistic with my YouTube channel, but I will say that being here has provided me with more opportunities than I had when I was in Panama. Now, once again, I got to make a disclaimer, because there's always somebody in the comments that it'll go, okay? I am not saying that I'm not bashing Panama, because I love Panama, and the end result and the end goal for me is to go back to Panama, but I'm just going to do a lot smarter, okay? What am I going to do? Make sure that my coins are together so I don't have to rely on income from the government, if it makes sense. Because you're going to say, well, it doesn't matter. Well, when you have a business, you still have to rely, everything is a circle, and it relies on the government. So if the government is not paying people, and the government does not have jobs, and people are not working, and the government isn't working to get people, get companies to invest in the country, there's no jobs for the people, and that affects small businesses. The fact that I am not an economic like economist. Wow, the fact that I'm not an economist and I'm telling you this because of critical thinking, that should say enough. So while I value you guys' opinions, okay, and I read some of the comments, okay, for the most part, a lot of you guys have been keeping it cute. So I'm not talking about you, but for those who feel the need to come on my page and just spew negativity from my decisions, just know your girl has a degree. I am very well versed. And although sometimes I can get a little ghetto, I know when to turn it off. Okay, I know how to communicate. I know how to express myself, and I know how to think critically. So there's no reason for you to come on my page and leave nonsense. I can decipher the words, guys. Yes, I do appreciate feedback and advice from individuals, but it's not what you say. It's just kind of like how you say it. And some of you guys can be very nasty. Very nasty. I will say that. Extremely nasty. But anyway, for the most part, you're right. That is the reason why I left Panama. And stick with me on this journey because it's going to be a beautiful one. What my goal is, I told you guys, yes, I want to go back. I want to go to Panama again when I get my coins together. And for now, we're just going to be by country, going back and forth. Okay, so yes. Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning into my video. I hope this helped and I hope it was informative. Again, I really appreciate my followers, my day one followers, my subbies, my day one subbies. I also appreciate the new ones that came here and they're stopping by. And just the ones that just clicked on this video just to see what was going on. But I would appreciate if you leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think, okay? You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to subscribe, but I would appreciate it if you did. And I will see you guys in the next video. Anyway, guys, peace and love.